Well, here we are.
Here we are.
First one.
We told you. And we got guests.
Glad to be joined. We ain't even, you know what? This man, he only goes by one name.
One name.
Hey, I like
Showtime.
Hey, that's Kenny. Did the best promo for Rebel Run that's ever been
He
done.
did.
that's what we do.
Sherman Rivers.
Coach.
What's happening? What's happening?
Well, guys, thank you for being on.
Yeah, definitely.
It sucks that we got to talk about stuff like this, but
I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
We shot something a few weeks ago, and the topic of conversation was The Last Dance. I think we were on episode 4 of The Last Dance.
bring that up around him?
I don't know where he's going to go with it.
I wasn't going to say it first.
He's just staring at me, and I can feel
to
it.
go with it, but I do remember that was the last topic of conversation. Obviously, a lot of stuff has happened since then. But
Greatest sports documentary.
I'm about to say, since that's the reaction we got, we might as well pick up real fast before we get into more serious stuff.
Why do we need to do that with him?
Impression. Now that you've seen it all, I mean, we start to finish. What do you think?
Listen, I'm going to preface this by saying I am clearly the biggest Jordan fan that there is.
Okay.
So I know that I have a bias towards him, but my bias is founded in facts.
Right.
This is what I like to say, and I'm being 100% real when I feel like it was the best sports documentary that I have ever seen.
Oh, man, I'm glad we ain't have Coach Darrell Overton on this.
Listen, we don't need to be in the same spot. We don't need to be in the same spot.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the things he posts, and I do my best not to respond to him on social media because I know that he's just trying to bait me into some stuff. And I know how he feels about LeBron and
Yeah, we need a LeBron.
how he thinks that everybody that played before 2000 was the worst basketball player based off of his posts. And Daryl, I'm sorry, but you be a little outrageous with some of the stuff. But
He's quick to throw up a picture of like John Concat.
yeah, man. Like he'll
seem like they're the only ones
goofiest
playing
looking
that.
dude possible. And
Yeah.
put him out there, but listen, and my love of Michael Jordan doesn't make me think that LeBron is not a great player as well.
Yeah.
I just think that you have Jordan and then you have everybody else. And I still think that it's an argument between Kobe and LeBron who's second.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to say that. So
Don't make me start, because you know Dr. J's the greatest basketball player of all time.
you see, now you're
I'm a homer.
lose all the young
I'm a homer.
You
I'm
lost all the young viewers because the only thing they know is that he probably couldn't dribble left-handed.
Don't you ever fly with me, Dr. J.
No, Dr. J, now listen,
That is out of bounds.
the only person that I can't agree with when people bring it up. Like, I know it's going to make a lot of people be mad at me, but I just feel like Bill Russell is one of the most overrated players of all time.
I do too.
What?
I do.
Tripping.
Hey,
I think that Bill Russell is
6'9",
I don't think he's any different than
180
Dennis Rodman.
pounds, playing with a bunch of
Dennis Rodman was just
unathletic
different. Though.
people.
I don't think he's any different than Dennis Rodman.
But Dennis Rodman is just different.
No, I think Dennis Rodman's way underrated.
Yeah,
That's my point.
The
is
whole
that
Celtic thing is
people
overrated.
will put Bill Russell in the top 5 like it's just a given.
It's a given.
And I don't even think he's a top 3-4 center.
Nah, they always say
Who would you have number one though?
I think it's between Hakeem and Shaq.
I can respect that.
If you argue between
Yeah.
those two, listen, Kareem is obviously has the most unblockable shot ever.
Now, I'm sound like a real homer, but you know who my arguably number one center? You can look at the stats. More importantly, watch the film on how dominant he was. Moses Malone, most underrated center ever played basketball. He was dominant.
He was dominant.
He dominated Kareem.
He was, but it wasn't for long.
did.
It wasn't for long enough.
He did it.
That people are going to
1983.
give it to him.
No.
So it's like I said, Bill Russell. Everybody's like, "Oh, Bill Russell." Listen, man, like that's great, but Wilt used to give him the business.
Yes.
Like the business.
Yeah.
And just
There
because
were
he
8 teams
won
in the league during all this,
and just because he won, everybody's like, "Oh, he's this." Like, yeah, I'm not trying to take that from him, and I think that he was a great player in his own right.
Yeah.
But it's like we can't just put him above other people, and I'm sorry, I feel like he's the most
I'm with
overrated
you.
player ever.
No, and I've heard the best. It's like the argument that there's nothing you can do with when they say it about Bill Russell. They're like, but you don't understand his defensive angles. Okay.
Good job, man. Like
That's
I said,
awesome.
Wilt was getting 50 and 25.
Right.
Exactly.
It's crazy. But there was only 8 teams in the league back then. It shouldn't even be in the same category. That's not a league. That's like that's summer league.
It's just too much. Like I said, that's the one where I just don't want to hear it. I just don't. And I'm just going to be that to those older guys than me. I'm going to be that young guy. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. That's probably how young guys feel about when we talk about Jordan and LeBron.
All right, quick answer, Showtime. Jordan, LeBron, or Kobe?
Well, me?
Yeah, you. You the young boy in the room.
I mean, I would have mine is MJ, Kobe, then LeBron.
So you got some sense.
You the minority on that, because like you said, it's hard to find somebody born 2000s and beyond
Right.
that'll say anything like that. And it's understandable.
Yeah.
You grew up with somebody being that.
Oh, of course.
Being a great player and possibly the best player in the league for a long
And that's who
stretch of
they
time.
emulate growing up. So
Right, so
different.
it's just like you said, Dr. J.
Yeah.
And in my mind, like, how could you even mention him in the
First of
same
all,
breath as Michael Jordan?
We already got past blasphemy, okay?
But so it just that's
you leave Doc out of this.
that's where it is, and but it's
Have to break out some VHS for you.
This is why I told you that we shouldn't talk about it.
But as you
Why?
can see, I'm realistic about it. I don't get super blasphemous like I said, Daryl, I know you're not here, man, but you just be talking crazy. It's like, like you gotta give it to him. Like, don't act like you play against complete bums.
Nah.
Y'all gonna have my phone blowing up from him playing about that.
All right, we're gonna move on from The Last Dance.
Please.
Let's just get into pandemic. Tell me, you work in the schools. Obviously, you're a coach. You work at a big facility, St. James. Like, what have y'all been doing?
A lot of online. It's gonna sound bad. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Trying to do your best to give students the opportunity to learn some stuff from your online courses and whatnot, and doing it that way. The issue, obviously, in Prince William County is that everybody didn't have a device.
Right.
So, it was one of those things that we're giving work, but it doesn't count against them.
Yeah.
It can only help them, and that was really the only thing you can do. And then kids are finding out that, like any kid or adult for that matter, you mean this doesn't count against me at all?
Right.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So it's that sort of issue that you deal with having to do with that. And then obviously from a coach's standpoint, I haven't seen our players since we left school. You try to keep in contact with them the best you can and make sure they're on top of stuff and giving them things that you would have possibly been doing during this time in the off season, but you can't do anything about it. I know that at Patriot, our AD, Brad Quall's great AD, he said, you guys can't do anything with them until further notice. And that's what I know coaches in our building have done. I can't speak for everybody else. But,
Sure.
It's difficult.
Oh, everybody. Somebody did something. Somebody did something.
Listen, of course I know, and I know, not like I'm assuming, but that's them, and that's how they do stuff. But and then obviously you see my appearance. I haven't had a haircut in I don't know how long. So that's the other part. So,
The Haymarket shop is back open.
It is, man.
yeah, so yeah.
What about you?
You know me, man. I've been moving different from y'all. y'all scared of this COVID thing. We young, so it's different for us. But we missed the spring ball. Like, I was looking forward to spring ball. I was expecting very great things, but they sent us home like way before. We only had like 2 practices.
Okay.
And that was it. But we came home. My job got shut down for a bit, so I was home for a little bit, just like just chilling, because we still was doing schoolwork. But like the schoolwork. It seemed like instead of it being easier, it got harder. Like the teachers was just throwing like loads after loads, so it was just like, it was overwhelming for us. But
I'm not that teacher.
So, it felt like it just kept getting like, instead of it being some type of easy, it just felt harder. But finished out with a 3.2, so it wasn't too bad. So So other than that, I got another job at Amazon, so I'm working at Amazon for right now till I maybe when I go back or anything. But other than that, just been working out and quarantining.
What you doing here?
Well, look, you being away from football, being away from school, and being away from structure for this long. how are you dealing with that part of it? And you're obviously you got teammates you guys talk to. You all still talk. Mm-hmm. How is everybody dealing with that part of it? How are the coaches keeping?
The thing is, we've been so since we left, our coach probably texts us twice, maybe twice or three. I say 2 to 3 times. But
she texting you individually or something?
Oh yeah. I mean, my coach text me after the whole George Floyd thing happened.
Yeah.
And just he was just telling us what happened was not right, and he was saying we needed to talk to him about anything, just reach out. But other than that,
but individually, I'm asking because there's a coach in the news right now who claimed he had reached out to all his players individually.
That's Florida's. No,
was the Florida State new coach or? It was
big
big school.
Was it Florida State?
Yeah,
I think so.
But then it turned out being just a mass text he sent out to everybody, and so. But that's big that someone's taking the time and reaching out.
Our coach. I believe our coach hit us up separately because I asked one of my boys. He said coach texted him too. So yeah. I mean, our head coach texted us a little bit, telling us to just keep our heads straight and just focus on the bigger picture. So we just right now we're in the middle of a crisis right now. So.
Yeah,
we just and we just can't forget we got to keep our heads straight instead of cutting our heads off and going crazy.
Sure.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now you're the head of a program in a school in a county that's very multicultural, and but just the team in general.
Right.
You have a very multicultural team every year. What's your message to those players? Not just the African American or players of color on the team, but to your white players who have their own kind of feelings about it,
Yeah.
What's the message there?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't had a actual conversation with all of them. Because I do better when I can actually speak with them.
Sure.
I'm bad at this at work too. People send me an email, I'll go see them. I do better with that.
Right.
And so I feel like it's going to be almost like lip service and lost in some sort of translation when you just send a blanket text to the group of everything. Obviously we have a team with, different types of people and races, and we've never had any issues with stuff like that, and everybody gets along. I like to think that my team's a little bit weird that all of them seem to be super tight.
Sure.
Where a lot of times you'll see them break off in different groups.
Right.
We would be at team camp and the whole team would be eating together. And I remember thinking man, that's weird.
Yeah.
And that's awful that I gotta think that.
Right.
But so I talked to a couple of our guys and, asked them how they feel about stuff that's going on and if they've had any involvement in anything. And a lot of the times their parents aren't even letting them go to do the process and whatnot.
Sure.
Because they're fear for their safety.
Right.
Just being as open as possible. I always am honest with kids with anything, and so they can always talk to me about stuff and voice their opinions if they want to. And I know once we actually get back, and it's starting to sound like we're getting closer to that, being around them again, that I'll have a discussion with the team about how things are and what we're going to do moving forward as far as doing our part. But I don't want. Like I said, I've seen all these things on social media, and me and Rob talk about all the different challenges and whatnot. I just feel like some of that stuff doesn't always come off as genuine. So I like to kind of wait until I can actually see them, look in their eyes, and they can hear my voice and my tone when I'm talking to them about it. And they know where I'm at with it. So it's not like they have to guess.
You're younger.
Yeah.
You've come up in a different
Generation.
In a different generation, but it's the same world. It's their experience probably very different, but the same in a lot of ways. Growing up, to me, I thought growing up it was always going to be down the line. We wouldn't see it anymore. I was dead ass wrong about that. But for you, your experience growing up, as far as the race and everything that's going on, your perspective on it.
I mean, I find it real interesting to actually witness it, because growing up in high school, you see it in a history book, you're reading about it and everything, you never really got to see it. So for me to actually witness something like this, a big protest, I think is really life changing. I actually got the opportunity to go to one of the DC protests, and me witnessing that, it was life changing for me. But I was protesting, just saying with the crowd and everything. But I went in there with a bigger purpose, just to go talk to officers and just get their viewpoints about how they feel and everything. Because, you know, a lot of my younger generation right now is really like blaming the cops. They all like F-12s, like they just attacking the cops like it's their fault. But to me, I see it differently. You can't say everybody's the same.
Right.
You know, not every cop is corrupt or anything. So I wanted to go get their viewpoints, and I went to the Capitol building and talked to the officers. And they was just saying, he was telling you that he couldn't speak for every agency, because not every agency are trained the same. You know what I mean? And because usually when I was in my little criminal justice class, officers told me that they trained it, they shoot to kill. But when I asked him, he said they don't shoot to kill.
Right.
So I'm like, that's weird, you know, because like my
Who's
class,
speaking at your criminal justice?
right,
he might need to be arrested. Right.
I'm like, what?
He might be oversharing.
So I'm like, so that really threw me off. I was like, that's weird. But then he was just saying, like, the younger generation, we, instead of pointing fingers, we need to really go vote and get out there. He was telling us, like, we be so quick to pick up our phones or watch like a fight or something,
right?
But we don't pick up our phones to even read and see who's like in office locally, to see who we're trying to vote for to make a change. Like I was saying, like my generation right now. There's some people that are open-minded and there's people that's closed-minded, and I think it's like for us, like the younger generation, the open-minded people have to lead the closed-minded people to a better type of life. You know how they say you can take a horse to the water, but so I'm thinking like even if they still stay closed-minded, we can, you know, keep going at it and keep going at it. At some point they'll break and they'll realize that at some point.
See, Showtime gonna end up the mayor somewhere. That's what's gonna happen.
Things, like I said, things are different, but they're still the same. You had that conversation with him before we got started. What do you do when you get pulled over?
Right.
It's funny when you say that, because I started thinking back on that, and I learned the lesson that you were talking about. Goldie, 15, driving in a car in Fairfax City, and these dudes, the cop said, "Give me your license." He went to reach for it, and another cop on the other window said, "I'll blow your head off." He looked at me and said, "Don't move." I said, "I'm not gonna move." But when we left there that day, he told me, he's like, "No, you can't." He's like, once they say something, just don't move."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh." To watch everything that's going on now, though, is I'm impressed by this generation and the fact that you all are out there fighting every day.
Yeah,
100%.
It's shown everybody else something about your generation I didn't think that they knew about you.
Yeah. For as much, you know, I don't even know where the generational cutoffs are. What's X, Y, Z? What's the who gets it the worst? The millennials. I don't even know what millennial is. I know they get dogged out by everybody, you know. But what I've seen in the last 2 weeks has been something that, look at NASCAR. Just bet. First of all, I won't go too far on a tangent about it, but the fact that this is something that is just being banned.
Yeah.
For anyone who wants to be offended, Confederates were the traitors that lost. So the fact that people are still
look at it in a historical context,
right? So, but the fact that NASCAR is saying, you know, it's not like they have this outreach to urban African American viewers, but somebody was like, all right, this is the right time to do the right thing that we've known, and they're banning it from all this. It's crazy.
You're talking about NASCAR, obviously that's a big deal, but the one that should probably stick out more is the military.
Yeah.
Different branches of the military having to come out and say, you can't have that.
Right.
It's like,
it's crazy.
why is that just happening now?
Why was it even allowed?
It's
no one flies the flag of the defeated party.
It's you know, and in the statues, the naming of the schools and the military bases, all the different things. And you know, I saw this. You know, memes are always funny, but it's one that said that everybody gets a trophy and everybody being mad about that. But then why are we celebrating the people who lost?
Right.
Yeah. You know, it's not, and you know, it's like they're like, it's a pride in this, it's a pride in that. Well, you don't understand like what it represents, and you know the things, how it makes people feel. And so now with what has happened, and the only reason why now it's become a bigger deal is because, like you said, everybody has a phone, everybody's recording things, and it's visible.
Sure.
And even with that being said, really it's only because of the pandemic that everybody doesn't have things to do. To distract them from these things being visible. Because it's not like this is the first time we've seen videos of things happening to
Oh, sure.
African Americans.
It's been the perfect storm.
So it's just finally it's like, oh, I'm going to stop being quiet about it. Great. Are you going to continue to do that when you're able to go do what you want to do?
Right.
It can't be something that's just cool for right now.
Yeah.
And then you move on from it once everything gets back to normal.
Right.
Because it's not going to change. I don't want to get all super nerdy with that because I'm a history teacher. My dad's a big history guy.
Sure.
But they had the whole Ulysses S. Grant documentary on History Channel Memorial Day.
Right.
And this, stuff you don't really know about people till you watch things like that. And they were talking about Reconstruction and how there was a point where you could see black people turning a corner to kind of get in something. They would start having elected officials,
right,
businesses, and whatnot. And then you all of a sudden the Confederate soldiers, veterans, who end up becoming like the Ku Klux Klan, were like, we're not going to have you doing all these things.
Yeah.
So Grant had to invoke martial law to send troops down to make sure things stayed that way.
Right.
And then there was a point where he actually had to do it again, and he decided not to because it was an election year. And he knew if he sent troops down to Mississippi that he was not going to be reelected as president. So he did not. And that was kind of like where Reconstruction just got kicked out the window.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to it, and go on and on and on about everything and all the ins and outs and the warfare from a mental and emotional standpoint. But I just want everybody to be as invested in it now as they are later.
That's the key. All this energy needs to be amplified come November. For whatever it is you believe in, and it needs to be, like you talked about, not just the top of the ticket. It's got to be all the way down ballot. People need to be educated on who's running and what they're about. Because that's where it starts. It starts in local politics and works its way up to the top.
So
don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do.
That's it.
Because they all tell you.
a mouth can say anything.
And I'm not going to get political or anything like that, but to have a rally on June 19th in Tulsa, Oklahoma, is as insensitive as you can be to the situation.
Purposeful is what
It is, those are the type of things and there are a lot of people that don't even know why.
Right.
That is something that wouldn't be okay. And that's the
Yeah.
crazy part. And it's not their fault. It's just the way things are taught. And like I said, as a history teacher, there are things that are not in the curriculum that should be.
Sure.
And there's things that get put in those books and in those documentaries and those videos. It's like, wow, like you just pretend like that happened.
Right.
So
I don't know why people are afraid of new information. Like, I don't know, like, it doesn't make sense to me. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of white people that are scared of the things that they've been taught being wrong their entire life. Like, that's okay to me. I'm okay with learning something new or figuring out I wasn't right about something. Like, I'm okay with that. I don't understand why that's so hard to cross over. Like, it's okay.
it makes you have to come to grips with what was done. So that's the problem, and people feel uncomfortable with it.
And a lot of times it makes you have to come to grips with the fact that you were taught by maybe your father or your grandfather who you revere is not accurate, or it's wrong. So, I mean, there's a lot of that going on too in conversations I have with people, their grandfather, their great-grandfather they never met, so it's, at some point, it's all got to be common sense. What's right, what's wrong.
Correct.
You get to a point of a conversation where people talk about how important history is important, but it's not so important that you overlook how things should be. You don't say these represent, you can't come to me and ask me. If someone asks me right now, like, I'm not one of those people who are like, George Washington was a great president, founder of our country. Like, to me, he was racist president who had slaves, and sure, that's the way things work. Doesn't make those people good people.
Right.
It's just, to me, they were still bad people. They could have been the nicest person in the world to their friends and family and done things for their community, but if you and your heart felt it was okay to own other people, like, not a good person.
It's just, it just recognizing when something is wrong and speaking out even when you're in a group of people that might think it's not a bad thing.
And that's an important message for right now.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's no excuse for people not to do it.
Right. No. Right. And it's can't always worry about being comfortable.
Yeah.
In
No.
situations where you
Gotta
know
be
that you
on-
have to be uncomfortable.
No, and that's it. It's exactly, and that's the thing. You know, looking at us like as a country. Look, we all got family. We all got family we love. We all got family that is just out of their mind. You can't. You know, you all got
There's
family.
always
that's-
somebody who's
Always got somebody.
tripping, we just-
That doesn't mean you don't love them.
Right.
But the same thing with America's great. We've all benefited in some way from being in America,
Sure.
but that doesn't mean there ain't stuff wrong.
Right.
We broke every treaty that we possibly could with Native Americans. We had slavery. We did everything wrong at one point to get to where we are. There's nothing wrong with admitting that.
No.
Like, we can admit that and still be a great country. That's the thing that throws me off in this, is that if you're protesting against something, you're anti-American.
And this is coming
That's-
from two. I mean, we're both military guys. I was in the
Yeah,
Army.
my
he was
father was
in
in
the
the Army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not coming from a place that's not, we both.
And my stepfather was a cop.
Right. I mean, we've taken oaths to this country.
Right.
And it's still clear as day to us.
Yeah. But it could be
I think it's clear as day to a lot of people. And
It
I think
is.
that's, you can kind of feel some tides turning, which is
Right.
which is promising. So.
I just think the system is just messed up right now. Like, I mean, it's been messed up for a while, but like, from us people, like us, the people from the outside, we will never know it because we're not in the inside. So, and I was having a talk with my boys the other day, and I said, for like a change, it starts here within the heart. And like I'm a big believer. I'm a Christian, so I just believe like we're all God's creation. So at the end of the day, I'm not here to judge you because you're gonna meet someone that's higher above me, and that's who's really gonna judge you at the end of the day. So
Right.
you can have your opinion on whatever you want to do or say or anything, but I just think like nowadays people are so worried about what other people would think. Like when I do something, I'm thinking like, what would God think about this? Because I'm out here I'm really on this earth on a mission. I'm here to serve a purpose,
Right.
and and the thing is, I'm supposed to find this purpose, and that's why I think I went to college and majoring in criminal justice because I wanna be different. I want to change things. Like I don't think things should always stay the same because when things are the same, it's like why not bring something different? And that's why I think like within the change, it all starts from the heart. It starts from within the heart. And I was saying for like this whole world to change is either us, the people, go into that field or educate ourselves so we can educate those people in those type of fields.
Right.
So that's what I believe, and I'm gonna stay on that until I leave this earth. But that's how I am about how I believe in things.
Right. People need to understand things from other people's perspectives. Like, you and I, as close as we've been, as long as we've known each other, I can't know what it's like to live your life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and I think a lot of times we look at things through our own lenses and don't put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and stuff. I think the more we can do that, the better we're going to be.
Yeah.
Helping people change what's in their heart.
It's just about having the right mindset and just having a good moral ground of what's right and what's wrong. It's like you said, as far as where it comes from the heart.
That's it, man.
People will manipulate words and books and ideas to what they want it to be. And you just have to be able to be educated enough. And like you said, a good person understand, like, I don't know if I agree with that. And be able to say it out loud and not feel uncomfortable voicing that you don't agree with something.
For sure.
So
Right. Like when I say Dr. J is the greatest basketball player ever, I say it with my chest out. I coach.
that's what you
I
believe.
understand.
That's what you believe.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Don't be saying he's trying to be all nice.
Hey, listen, The Last Dance said all I had to say. That being out recently, like, I don't really have to argue as hard as I normally do.
You really don't. You know what?
I avoided him for a month.
He did. I did. He would text me and be like, hey, I don't really want to talk to you right now. He said, because this is going on. But I said, hey, I understand. I'll talk to you at some point, though. We will get into this. I'm just going to let you sit on it for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know the only thing that bothered me about the whole thing is that I always loved the story of the flu game because it was something that I could relate to not playing in the NBA or even playing a game with the flu, but just having the flu and being like, damn, he was that sick and balled out like that. And then when it turned to like some suspect pizza he ate the night before, just kind of.
Yeah, you just made me think about something. Being college athletes, and going back to this whole thing, did you ever feel used for your color with college athletics?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I was, me in particular, I went to a school that was predominantly white, and the team was predominantly white. And I always found it interesting that, and the coaches actually said it, which was funny. It wasn't something that was like an underlying thing. Whenever they would put out the poster with the schedule or the schedule cards,
Right.
they'd use an action shot for me. Now, I think I'm pretty good, but I was not the best. I'm not the best player on the team at that time, but every single thing that they put out had something where I was doing something. And I was like, you know, I'm feeling pretty good. And they said, well, you kind of have, you know, we want to make sure we put that out there.
Right.
And then things that happen like that, you're like, wow, that's crazy. Like that Dave Chappelle thing, like he's like, man, that was racist. And you don't realize it until like after the fact. But yeah, so it just, you know, that definitely happened for me. But like I said, I was in a situation where I was on a team where I was picking maybe 1 or 3 or 4 black guys on the team.
Sure.
So, and you're in a sport and in a industry that is most of it is
Right.
us.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to sell that because they were trying to recruit that.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. How did they find you at Potomac then?
You know, that's it's a state school. You know, like I said, we were in the state tournament my sophomore and junior year, so clearly they were at the state championship game. That was back when Ronald Curry was at Hampton, so you know it was a big draw for everybody. So they started recruiting me when I was 15 years old, and they were one of the first ones. And you know, William and Mary parents hear that, and they automatically are just locked into that.
Right. Sure.
Is it something that hindsight I would have done? Probably not, for a load of different reasons.
Right.
But that's where I ended up going. Got a good education out of it. So
Yeah.
Now, Kennedy, for you.
Yeah. I mean, like I was what happened at ATL with the whole Hall of Fame thing when they broke into when they destroyed the thing. When I saw that, at first I was like I didn't understand, but then I was like, I mean, if you really think about it, that place is built and it was in there because like black athletes, like they brought that there to Atlanta. So when people really broke that, I wasn't really upset about it because first I was like, come on, like what they do, but then when you really go back and like think about it, like it's there because of like people are of color, and like I feel like the NCAA is just unfair now, you know, because they don't want to pay us to really do what we do. But I mean, I understand where they're coming from because we're young and athletic, or why not? But like, I just think right now NCAA is making the money off of people of our color, and like my team, shoot, I say 90% of us is black. Like other than that, you don't really like on campus. You only players that you will see that are black is student athletes mostly. Like I don't think I had a black friend on campus that wasn't an athlete. Everybody else was a student athlete, black student. So I just feel like right now, I mean, people of my color are making NCAA where they want to be. So we will never understand because it's not our point to really understand. But but if you really pay attention to it, you see it. But the thing is, are we really gonna speak on it and let it be known, or are we gonna stay quiet?
Well, it's coming down the pipeline because California's about to start.
Yeah, California. Yeah,
they're about to start paying the athletes. And then you're gonna find out real fast why all those California colleges have athletes at a way higher superior level than the country.
Right.
Yep. But you know.
But I think we should start. You know, like Mikey Williams was saying, like us, we should really like look into HBCUs. I think like us student athletes, we're so caught up in the school name instead of really like changing.
Sure.
and that's not just the athletes. That's everybody around you.
Yeah.
Too. You know, you got God, you ask somebody what they got and what offers they got, they're not going to list the lower levels.
Right.
They're going to say the higher levels.
Everyone's talking D1 or
that's-
bust.
like
and
I
all
said,
that.
I went to William and Mary, and everybody was like, "Well, why are you going there? It's free."
Right. Free education. Free education.
You know, and so, listen, and I got offers from Tech and UVA and South Florida and different places,
Yeah.
all these other schools. And I got to tell you that I got offers from these schools to make you feel better about the other offer I got
Right.
from the College of William and Mary,
Yeah.
because that does something for you. I said, because
Right.
I'm pretty sure that you weren't going to help me pay for that
Right.
if I didn't go somewhere. So it's the, like you said, the pressures of that and outside influences, and like you said, your own ego and what you feel about the school you're getting from is, it's a big difference for Mikey Williams to say I got offered by Kentucky and saying I got offered by Norfolk State.
Right.
You know, both are free, and obviously we know the difference as far as the revenue and the exposure and everything else that goes with it. But if guys start making decisions like that, it's going to really change the game.
Sure.
So, but you know, is that going to happen? I don't know. It's just it's going to be a hard.
yeah.
It's got to be a lot of them. It can't just be a couple.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
No, it's like I try to tell people all the time. Don't hide your offers. I don't care if it's a D2 school. I don't care if somebody's offering to pay you money
Right.
to go to school there. Be proud of that. Put that
Sure.
out. Yeah, that's a
Free money for the
Yeah.
hard work you put in, you know? So.
exactly. But also, I try to say, I told you this before too. Take advantage of every free thing they offer you.
That's what you got to do, man.
Take
That's what
advantage
you-
of
That's what you got to do. It's like I said, it's crazy. I can talk about the fact that I went and played at William and Mary, and people are like, oh, that's pretty cool. They're more impressed by me telling a story about the end of my senior year in high school. How this was '99, I'm the age of myself, but obviously that was when Duke lost to UConn in the national championship.
Okay.
Rip Hamilton, and they had William Avery, Elton Brand, and those guys. And all those guys left. And then the next class that was coming was like Jason Williams, Mike Dunley.
Right.
Duke actually called my high school coach at the end of the season, asking if I was still available. And I remember when he told me, I was like, well, what did you say to them? Because I'd already committed.
Right,
But
yeah.
at the same time, I was like, hey, we need to talk about this first.
Yeah.
But people get more impressed by that story. And I
Right.
never even stepped foot on that campus.
Right.
Than the fact that I actually went and played and started games as a freshman
Right.
for 4 years
Sure.
at William and Mary because, it's like Duke's like,
Right.
you know, it's just like this. It's everything. And listen, I like telling that story because, you know, it makes kids like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like you said, it's just be proud of anything that you get, especially when you have an opportunity to go to school for free.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been fun
Yeah.
and encouraging.
Yeah.
It has been encouraging. I'm glad to hear that, especially from people who are fresh out of school, still in school, teachers at school, coaches. You know, that's the right message that needs to be put out there.
And it's important for those are the things. That's what people lose track of. Is that's like in communities. These are the people that matter.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like Sherman has direct access to people, like to young people every day.
Sure.
Like these are the things that matter. It matters what people like him think. It matters what as wild as Kennedy is, it matters what he says.
Oh, man, he says the right thing.
Nah, you know, on the field is different.
Yeah, on the field, man.
You know, on the field you competing, but I mean, when you get off the field, you are
good, man.
just like everybody
Y'all
else.
didn't want to know me back when I was playing. I probably said some outrageous stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad there was no camera phones when I played. Plus, there's no way to disprove any of my high school stories.
Yes, there is. Ask me.
No. There's no way to disprove it. You can't prove it, but you can't disprove it. You know.
Oh no.
Well, we got to do this again. I want to have you guys back on when we get a little further down the road and
Definitely.
see how things are changing, not just in the world, but in your world specifically, what's going on with kids and everything like that. So
We're gonna head Kennedy's campaign when he runs for mayor too.
you ain't joking. I don't want them digging in my. They can dig in yours.
See, this is your fault, though. Look, he said mayor's not big enough. Yeah, look at him.
Got to start. Start with the mayor.
He said mayor. Oh man.
That's not, that was my nickname in my drinking days. I said that like my drinking days are over too. The past tense. used to call me the mayor.
Hey, you're not living life. You're not living like John.
That's a great campaign slogan right there.
That is it, man.
I like it.
You know what? We're gonna get some campaign signs. We're gonna put them up. We're gonna get him elected without him knowing it. There's no doubt he would
I'm
be
great
the most
at
corruptible
delegating.
I tell you
I'm
what,
great
they
at
got
delegating.
MTV Cribs coming in.
I'm trying to tell you, like,
I've been trying not to look around.
well, then he said he want to see my pets. I'm thinking he got a dog and a cat.
Nah, man.
This man talking about some lizards and a turtle.
That's how you know. That's how you know it's luxurious when they don't have normal pets. Like I said turtle, he said tortoise. Get your fancy self out of here. You know, like who has a tortoise in their house?
As soon as he got out the car, he looked. He said, "John is not from the hood."
I told him I am. I'm just not going back.